Hit one of the seats, Trevor. That would be nice. Maybe did it. High and deep, right center field. Take a good look. You won't see it for long. 2-1, Colorado. And this ball's driven well. Hamilton going back. Look it up. This one's gone. 3-run bomb, Ben Paulson. What a time for his first of the year. Big fun last night in the Queen City as the Rockies took down the Reds 5-1. Looking to make it 2 straight in Cincinnati, a place they have played well the last several years. It's the Rockies and Reds from Great American Ballpark on the banks of the Ohio River, and it's another splendid night for baseball. Temperature reached the low 80s this afternoon. It's cooled off naturally a little bit. Game time a little bit after 7. And DJ LeMahieu is back in the lineup for the Rockies. He's had 2 of the last 3 days off, trying to nurse a little bit of a sore groin area, but he's ready to go. He's got a .341 average. He hit in his first 9 starts this year. Each of the first 2 days there's been a pitching change for Cincinnati. We'll tell you about that in a moment, but let's take a look at the rest of the lineup for Walt Weiss this evening. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Trevor Story again will bat second. Why not? Cargo, 2 more hits last night. He's batting .377, one of the leaders in baseball in batting average in the first couple of weeks. Nolan Arenado, a couple of hits last night, again .302 average. Gerardo Parra. Mark Reynolds will start at first. Ben Paulson with a big home run. He's back in there, but in left field tonight. Tony Walters doing the catching. They're unbeaten with him in the starting lineup, and Jorge De La Rosa, of course, will pitch and bat ninth. Well, Alfredo Simon was supposed to go this evening, but he has biceps tendonitis, so he was scratched. And Robert Stevenson, who is their #1 prospect, was called up. He has had 1 start this year in the big leagues. That was his major league debut. He was solid, getting a win against the Phillies. Got a big arm.
Huge arm. They said he's been able to touch 97, 98 miles an hour, but they haven't seen that yet at the major league level. He's been pitching more to contact, averaging fastball velocity 92 to 94 miles an hour. 90 career minor league starts. He went 25 and 33. 495 strikeouts in 455 innings pitched. He can get the strikeout, but some of the people with the Reds, they said they haven't seen the big velocity that they're accustomed to seeing when they drafted him in 2011.
He was drafted out of Orange County High School, Alhambra High School in Martinez, California. In the 2011 draft, 27th overall. DJ swings at the first pitch, and it's popped up in the direction of Joey Votto, and he makes the catch. Here are the Reds defensively. We mentioned last night they've struggled with the gloves so far this year. They'll have Tyler Holt making his first start this season. He's in left field. He runs well. Billy Hamilton in center field. Jay Bruce is in right. Eugenio Suarez, who's played every game except last night, will be at third base. Zach Cozart, Brandon Phillips, Joey Votto, and Devin Mesoraco is behind the plate. Mesoraco did not play last night. It was Tucker Barnhart. 1 out on 1 pitch, and here's Trevor Story. And Story takes a strike at 94. Story has never seen Stevenson even in the minor leagues. A lot of guys having to scramble to do their homework on Stevenson. Look at that first start he had against the Phillies. Well, Trevor Story has hit a lot of home runs, as you know, and a lot of long home runs. Last night, 434 feet. He's got 3 over 430 feet already this year. When he hits them, they stay hit.
Stevenson's interesting to me. In high school, his first 2 starts of his senior year, back-to-back no-hitters. Ended up winning the 2011 Gatorade California Player of the Year.
Yeah, last time I checked, there's some good players in California.
Oh, come on, Drew. All the best players come from California.
I was trying to put that on a tee for you. You hesitated. And he spikes that pitch, and it's 2-2.
fastball, curveball, changeup. That's primarily his 3 pitches. Out of high school, he was a fastball, curveball pitcher, and they've worked with him a lot, trying to be able to get him to get that changeup. And that was probably the pitch that he spiked.
2-2 on Story. And that's fouled off. Got a quality swing off there. He reached back, got 96 on that fastball. Home runs among rookies in their first 13 games. Another record for Trevor Story. No rookie had ever hit 8 home runs in his first 13 games. Carlos Delgado, who had a great career, hit 7 in his rookie season of '94. And he spun it for a strikeout. 2 gone. And that'll bring up Cargo. Cargo is a couple hits away from a very significant milestone.
What's that?
He has 998 hits in his career. About to hit 4 digits. The way he's been going, it could happen before like the 3rd inning.
I know Gerardo Parra is nipping at his heels. These are 2 guys that are very competitive and very good friends. I'm going to guess that they probably have a little side bet going on. Or
on what? On how many career hits?
On who gets 1,000 first.
Cargo's ahead of Parra.
Not by much. I'm looking it up.
He's 70 some odd ahead inside.
No, well then, yeah. Sorry, Parra, you're not going to win that bet.
There's the always upbeat Gerardo Parra. Big throw he made last night. 1-1 on Cargo. Brandon Phillips about 30 feet onto the outfield grass. And Cargo goes the other way, but it's going to slice into the seats foul. Remember that play Pacheco made last night against Cargo? The diving catch in the first inning on the rocket he hit? That ball came off the bat at 117 miles an hour last night. He now has 4 of the 13 hardest hit balls in baseball this year, according to StatCast.
You can just hear it off the bat. Bam.
1-2. Tried to get the breaking ball on the back door. 2-2. And on average, Cargo hitting at about 96 miles an hour, which is 6 miles an hour better than what the average velocity is, exit speed off the bat. Two outs, nobody on. 3-2 on Cargo. And that ball is in the air to left field. Tyler Holt's out there, and it's a 1-2-3 start for Robert Stevenson. Things off for the Cincinnati Reds against Jorge De La Rosa. And that's a really close look at his jersey and the name on the back, Cozart. Here's the Southwest batting order for Brian Price tonight. Eugenio Suarez will bat second. He's off to a nice start, .319 average. Joey Votto, Brandon Phillips, Devin Mesoraco. He's got big power. He's battled injuries the last year and a half. Jay Bruce next against the lefty. Tyler Holt. Robert Stevenson will bat in the 8th spot, and then Billy Hamilton, struggling at 167, will bat 9th. So De La looking to continue what he had going against San Francisco, making a start in a ballpark he hasn't seen in 6 years.
Well, and this ballpark, 11 career games here, 3-3 with a 7.42 ERA. For De La Rosa, it's about commanding the cutter and the changeup. There's not a better, in the changeup really, they have it listed as a splitter. It's a changeup, it's a split change, but 88% whiff rate on that changeup.
And here's the arsenal, and again, it's unusual. He doesn't throw his fastball very frequently compared to most pitchers, and honestly, the fastball velocity is down a little bit.
It's down, but you're fine with that as long as you're able to command the zone. If you can go left to right, up and down, you'll be fine.
First pitch of the ball game is in there, strike one on Zach Cozart. And ahead 2 strikes.
Interesting stat. Zach Cozart, there's only one other player in the National League with 30 at-bats who has a higher contact percentage on swings than Cozart, and that's John Jaso with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and that's at 93.8%. That's incredible.
Yeah, it is. 0-2, spiked the splitter, and it's 1-2 on Cozart. De La Rosa helped himself quite a bit in his last start, threw out a couple hits, had a couple ribbies.
He was teasing me the other day that he's the best hitter on the team.
And he got him to chase that splitter in the dirt. Tony Walters lobs it down to first, and the out is completed there. Defensively, Ben Paulson, he has started out in left field before. Gerardo Parra in center, Carr goes in right, Arenado, Story, LeMahieu, and Reynolds in the infield. And Tony Walters, again unbeaten behind the plate with the gear on. Eugenio Suarez steps up. Last year in 372 at-bats, he had 280, 13 home runs, 48 RBIs, capable offensive players. Off to a great start, particularly at home, hitting well over 400 at home. First reached the big leagues in 2014 with Detroit. Rockies put a shift on. 1 ball, 1 strike, and that's not a surprise. The Rockies are shifting already at the 4th highest rate in baseball. The Astros, they've been #1 the last couple of years. Brewers, Angels, and then the Rockies. That's a strike, 1-2. But at the bottom of the zone, you work there, good things generally happen.
Suarez had a great spring training, hitting safely in 20 of 22 games so far this season. He has hit safely in 9 of his 12 games, and he's 7 for 14 against left-handed pitching.
Splitters down, 3-2. Got him. 2 strikeouts to begin for De La Rosa. And despite the velocity being down, the strikeout numbers are up.
The strikeout numbers are up, and that comes back down to how good that splitter is. You can see it, 88% whiff rate. That's one of the best in baseball on any sort of pitch. Suarez had no chance as it just falls right out of the zone.
Joey Votto takes a strike on the inside corner at 91. One and one.
See the 0 for 5 with 2 strikeouts against Jorge. 2 for 14 this season already against left-handed pitching. This is not a normal stat for Votto, as his splits are pretty even across the board versus lefties and righties.
Two and one on Votto. And that's a called strike according to Adrian Johnson. Well received by Tony Walters. When you talk about a guy stealing a strike, a catcher stealing a strike, that was evidence of a catcher stealing a strike right there. 2 and 2. Votto shortens up on the bat. Fastball target, and he got him with a cutter. Good inning. How about that? 1, 2, 3. 3 punch outs for De La Rosa. We'll go to the second inning in Cincinnati. No score. Colorado Rockies baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by your hometown Toyota stores. Toyota, let's go places. And by Southwest Airlines, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The Queen City. And that's the view from the Kentucky side of the Ohio River at downtown Cincinnati. And if you look to your extreme left, you can see a glimpse of Paul Brown Stadium, where the Bengals play their games on Sunday afternoons. We'll go to the top of the second inning with Ryan Spilborghs and Mark Stout. I'm Drew Goodman. Nolan Arenado will be first in the inning. Gerardo Parra, Mark Reynolds to follow against the youngster Robert Stevenson. And the fastball is outside, ball 1. I'm not beating up Devin Mesoraco, but just watch how he receives the baseball compared to Tony Walters. Curveball's a good one. 1 and 1. Been a couple of borderline. That first pitch wasn't a bad pitch, but I thought he took his glove, the fastball, out of the zone.
Well, you get late life on that pitch, and some catchers will just go with their thumb and pull it right out of the zone.
This ball sharply hit, handled by Suarez, 1 out. That'll bring up Parra. Parra last night 0 for 4. 3 for 13 in the Cubs series. Yesterday he played in his 1,000th career game.
Parra has 932 hits. Career. So he will get to 1,000 this year as well.
Well, last night he made a phenomenal throw that not many left fielders in the league can make. But look at this tag. This was the Meadowlark Lemon tag. The blind behind the back tag.
Only Adam Jones since 2009 has more outfield assists than Gerardo Parra, who has 74. Joey Bats has 72. And right fielder tonight for the Cincinnati Reds, Jay Bruce, has 69.
2-0, 3-0. You know, guys who don't see Arenado as frequently, teams outside the NL West, the media that follows some of these teams, they're like, wow, this guy really is good. Yeah. 3-0, that's in there, 3-1.
I responded to a tweet today from John Heyman, Sports Illustrated, and he was talking about, hey, I think it's fair to say that Nolan's a top 3 player. And I go, really? You just figured that out right now. We've been saying that for a long time.
And the 3-1 is hit in the air to shallow left. Cozart makes the catch. 2 gone as we check in with Mark Stout. Mark?
Drew, you brought it up in the first inning. Robert Stevenson's second start. So I asked Walt Weiss before the game, I said, you find out that there's a pitching change. How do you go about preparing for a guy? In so many words, he said, there's only so many ways you can skin a cat. Spilly, I'm sure you were in that position. Do you have to scramble, as Drew was kind of saying in the first, look at different video? I know it's changed over the years. How did you approach that when it happened?
Well, you're not going to change much the day of the game just because of the video. What would have changed is if Stevenson was a left-handed pitcher. Because the night before, all the position players know, hey, I'm going to face Alfredo Simon. It's a right-handed pitcher. So with the Rockies, if they face a lefty, much of the time they're using Ryan Rayburn and Brandon Barnes. So it's a complete line shift. So that would change day of the game.
How has video changed that now? I mean, there's way more on guys, even in their minor league stuff, right?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You look at videos, so a guy like Stevenson, where you don't have a lot of major league video, this is his second start. One start in Philadelphia is not going to give you a good gauge of what he is, especially if it's his major league debut. So you have to find minor league video.
And this ball lined to the gap in right center field. It's going to take one hop and kiss off the wall, and Mark Reynolds has a 2-out double. First hit for the Rockies.
That's Mark Reynolds' 4th double, and I love it when I see him hit it opposite field. Fastball down and away, runs back over the plate, and Mark makes him pay, shooting it right in the gap. Any chance you can get, obviously extra base hits with 2 outs is important, but taking a 2-strike approach and a guy like Mark Reynolds that we've seen his strikeout rates in the past, that's a good sign.
Tell you what was a good sign, Ben Paulson hitting it over the center field wall to give the Rockies a nice cushion in the 8th after Trevor Story had hit his home run. That's a balk. His spikes got caught, and now Mark will go to third base.
Let's see where he trips. Let's see where he really trips. He just stops. Well, a situation like that, if you throw the ball towards the plate, you can throw the ball and it just be a ball versus a balk. A balk moving up Reynolds a couple feet takes the curveball out of play.
Well, Jumbo Diaz came in, not a lefty, to face Ben Paulson, and he went down and hit a ball at his ankles out of the ballpark to dead center field. That was after a cargo hit and a Nolan walk. Outside with the fastball, it's 1-1. Paulson 6 for his last 15 at the plate. He's driven in 6. He always seems to, goes back to last year, get big RBIs. He gets RBIs late in games. See if he can pick up this 2-out ribby here. No score, top of 2. Reynolds at third. Broken bat, line drive, get down, it will. Ben Paulson coming through on cue, and the Rockies with a 2-out run take a 1-0 lead. Seventh RBI for Paulson.
Well, I thought it was important with that balk to be able to move Mark Reynolds up because it forced Stevenson to throw his fastball. We've already seen him spike a couple curveballs. That ball just runs right back towards the middle of the plate, and he's able to shoot it and punch it into the outfield. You can see on the Subaru Super Mode, the ball has a little bit of run, but too much part of the plate and too much elevated that Paulson's able to get the barrel on it.
Here's Tony Walters. Tony swings and misses at a fastball at 93.
The Rockies are 6-2 when scoring first. We love that stat.
And that's, you know, league wide. You score first, you win a lot more than half the time.
To your point with how good Ben Paulson has been with 2 outs, the Rockies this year have been very good with 2 outs and runners in scoring position, hitting .313. That was something they struggled at quite a bit last year, especially late in the season.
Way outside, 2-1. Stevenson in that first ball game he threw against the Phillies, 3 runs, 5 innings. Gave up 6 hits. 2 of the hits were home runs. Struck out 2, walked just 1. He had 1 other start this year in Louisville, and it was a good start. 6 innings, just 1 earned run. Struck out 7, didn't walk anybody. 3-1 with De La Rosa on deck. Another thing you got to like about Tony Walters, he understands, keep saying this, he really has great acumen for the game. He understands in the 8 spot, so he's not going to expand right here because at the very least he wants to clear De La Rosa in the inning. And evidence of that, didn't chase. He walks, and De La Rosa, and it was a borderline pitch. It wasn't an awful pitch. He let it go, and the Rockies will get De La Rosa out of the way here in the second. And you know, the way De La's been swinging, who knows?
It's the team's best hitter.
Maybe a little bit of a stretch, but we'll go with it for this at bat. Give him a little confidence, right?
Yeah, it's perfect. When you're hitting .500, we're going to say you're the team's best hitter. So far, watching Stevenson, it's clear to me the secondary pitches just aren't ready yet. The curveball's not there yet. The changeup's not there yet. If you're a hitter, you're just seeking dead red. You're looking fastball.
Outside, ball 1 on De La Rosa. The Reds, like the Rockies, are very excited about some young arms they have coming. But it is a process, and that's why Mark Riggins now is going to jog out to the mound. It is most unusual when a pitcher arrives, a young pitcher, and all of a sudden dominates.
It's not often. You don't see it. I mean, there's so much to develop at the major league level. Off-speed pitches, being able to throw them in hitters' counts, being able to command both sides of the plate. Is that the clock for me to stop talking?
No, you can keep going.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you think of some great ones, even current great ones.
Kershaw
had a 4+ ERA his first year.
Kershaw, when he got to the big leagues, only had fastball, curveball, and the curveball was not a strikeout pitch.
1-1. Bounced over the mound. If De La hustles, which he did, he would have had a chance. He did try to get up the line. Cozart able to beat him with the throw in the inning. The Rockies got a 2-out double from Mark Reynolds. And then Ben Paulson followed with a base hit. It's 1-0 Rockies. Nothing as we go to the bottom of the second. It's Tuesday night, which means it's Toyota Talk Takeover. Tonight, Adam Ottavino is taking over the Root Sports Twitter account, so make sure to tune in and tweet your questions for Adam at @RootSports_RM during the game this evening. And Adam Ottavino, like Michael Kadire before him, is a big photographer. So he has his teammate Cargo mentally preparing to get ready to play. More images of his work. Got the new fence out there.
Growth spurt.
Where's the Brooklyn Bridge, Otto?
I got a question for Otto. When did photography become a hobby of yours? How old were you when you first started getting into it?
Brandon Phillips will lead things off against De La Rosa, who struck out the side in the first. And Brandon takes a strike on a curveball. Brandon 3 for 10 against De La Rosa in his career with a home run. And that ball's lined to left for a base hit. And Phillips with a wide turn will put on the brakes because Parra just threw a perfect one-hopper. Excuse me, that was Ben Paulson. Parra's in center. Paulson threw a perfect one-hop throw, kind of like a Parra throw to DJ.
Well, that's part of what Ben Paulson's been working on. He spends time at first base, has to go to the outfield. Brandon Phillips taking a good wide turn. That's what you're supposed to do, especially a ball hit down the left field line. Any sort of bobble, he would have been standing on second.
Mesoraco's at the plate. Devin last year had hip surgery in June. And in fact, he didn't start catching until the 3rd week of March this year in spring training. Last year, the last time he squatted was as Phillips takes off. Ground ball up the middle. It's going to find a seam, and Phillips will go to third. First and third, nobody out. A little hit and run. Mesoraco hadn't really caught in a big league game till this year in a calendar year.
Phillips gets a great jump. DJ's the one that's going to cover on the shift that he was at. Story's not going to move to cover that, and it just happens to find the hole right between the two of them.
Cincinnati something brewing in the second, and that'll bring up Jay Bruce. Dropped one spot in the lineup against the lefty today. Bruce against righties typically will hit fifth. Rockies have the shift on the right side. He'll obviously, at this juncture, sacrifice a run to get a couple outs if Dela can get a ball on the ground. Bruce just 1 for 10 against De La Rosa.
It's always interesting when you watch the shift. You can see how far off Nolan is from third base, so you have to listen to Billy Hamilton or Billy Hatcher at third base to see how far to get off. A lot of times you can get off as far as you want at third base because there's nobody there to cover, but with how quick Nolan is getting back and how quick Tony Wolters has been, you don't want to get too far off.
2-1, and that's fouled off. 2-2. Jay Bruce was the one who was cut down trying to stretch the double into a triple last night on that marvelous throw by Parra and an even better tag by Arenado.
I think Billy Hamilton's telling Phillips he can get off the base a little bit more. Billy Hatcher. Billy Hamilton.
Yeah, Billy wasn't born when Billy Hatcher hit that playoff home run for Houston.
That was an awesome home run, and I always talk to him about it. He ran backwards towards first.
2-2. And a ground ball slowly hit. There's one on to first. Nope. Trevor couldn't get it out of his glove, so the run scores. It's 1-1. And Bruce will get credit for an RBI.
Good situational hitting by Jay Bruce. Put the ball in play. DJ's right there in the shift. It's just not hit hard enough. And Trevor has difficulty handling that throw on the exchange.
That'll bring up Tyler Holt, who's making his first start of the year. Spring training, he played a lot of center field. Tyler's 27-year-old out of Florida State. Runner going, and a huge jump for Bruce on De La Rosa. I want to see if he offered at it. Adrian Johnson says no, he didn't. And De La Rosa wanted him to check it out at first with Gary Cederstrom, and Adrian said, I saw it. He didn't offer at it. So it's 1-0.
It's the second big jump that the Reds have had against Jorge De La Rosa. You wonder if he's showing something before he's throwing. It's hard to tell if he offered. Brandon Barnes did get called with that a couple days ago in Chicago. Same type play, showing bunt, ball inside, jumped out of the way.
So the Reds being aggressive here early in the game. And that hit him. That's not the worst thing in the world. You have the pitcher coming up. He's going to try to lay down a bunt, but you may have an opportunity to turn two. Billy Hatcher is going to go and make sure Stevenson knows the signals. He called him down at third base. This thing cut inside and got him on the thigh. Reynolds creeping down. He's about 60 feet away. De La Rosa, well, with the inside movement, and not to throw it, he wanted to see if Stevenson, if the kid would reveal early. That may have been something Billy Hatcher reminded him. Say, hey, don't show early. Now he shows, and it skips up there. Walters will go retrieve it behind the plate. Double steal on, throw to third, and they're not going to get him. And De La Rosa has allowed 2 enormous jumps for Jay Bruce. It's almost like Brian Price is saying, all right, we scored 1 run last night, didn't play well in St. Louis. We're going to get real aggressive tonight.
Well, I'm paying attention to what Jorge's doing prior to him throwing. If he locks in on home plate, every pitcher has a tendency, and sometimes just looking, they'll know, hey, as soon as he looks towards second, once he turns his head, he's going home. You can go.
Now, if you're De La Rosa, you need a strikeout. It's 1 and 2. Billy Hamilton on deck. Infield has come in. 1-1 game in the second. 3 stolen bases in the inning against De La Rosa. Jorge struck out the side in the first. Back-to-back hits by Phillips and Mesoraco. Greeted him in the second. Here's the 2-2. Swung on and missed. So he got the strikeout. And now the infield can drop back. 2 gone, and that'll bring up the struggling Billy Hamilton. Hamilton will hit from his natural side against De La Rosa.
Walters and De La Rosa met with Mark Reynolds. They know that Billy Hamilton loves to bunt, and so right now they just had a conversation about who's going to try to get the bunt and where to go with it. Reynolds is still way in on the grass on the right side of the field. Nolan's going to play pretty close to the dirt.
And a curveball for strike 1. Hamilton at home with just 2 hits this year, 2 for 17.
I think if you're Billy Hamilton and you look at the situation with De La Rosa, a push bunt towards Mark Reynolds, and now you're in a foot race with De La Rosa to first. Who do you think wins that?
I like Billy Hamilton. Nothing against Jorge, but
he's fast.
Billy Hamilton's the fastest guy in the game. He and D. Gordon. Oh, man, that's a chopper that's going to score 2. And Hamilton will have an easy double. Just bounced it off the plate into left field, and it's a 3-1 Cincinnati lead. That's what they want him to do. You know, we were talking about the Ted Williams approach, and you accurately pointed out, you don't want Billy Hamilton lifting the baseball. You want him hitting it on the ground.
You want him hitting it on the ground, and you see a better swing from Billy Hamilton when he's hitting right-handed. His dominant arm allows him to control the barrel a lot better than when he's hitting left-handed. Talk about it bouncing right off home plate.
3 runs in the inning, and now the hottest hitter in the Reds lineup, Zach Cozart, at 455. And Hamilton takes off for third. That's 4 stolen bases in the inning. This is reminiscent of the Rockies' game plan against John Lester.
Yeah. For Jorge to keep the runners on, all he's doing is he's taking one look and going towards home plate. It's an easy timing for the base runner. Just have to vary your looks. Add an extra look towards second base, and you'd probably prevent a couple stolen bases.
It's been one look and go, and then, you know, Jorge does not slide step, and a lot of lefties don't, but they've been taking advantage of it. And you saw the bunt attempt there. Hamilton will bunt at some point tonight. And that's also part of the game plan. When you look at a scouting report and have your hitters meeting early, one of the things I'm sure you go over is the agility of the pitcher on the mound, right?
It has to be one of the things you talk about is, can this guy field the baseball off the mound? Same with John Lester. Everybody knew, hey, bunt on him because he cannot throw the first.
Good block. 2-1 on Cozart. Three-1 Reds. Has been extended in the inning. Two and two on Cozart. That's a tremendous block. That is a tremendous block. You're talking about a ball that bounced, what we'll see on the replay, 5-6 feet in front of home plate.
Well, this is why when you're catching and you're Renee Latchman, he tells his catchers to get in the dirt. Put your body in the dirt and make sure you block that ball. Don't let it go through the 5-hole. Make sure you just trust your catcher's equipment. It's a hard reaction for a catcher to just go down on your knees and block the baseball. It's not natural.
Do you get the feeling that right now Jorge just doesn't trust his fastball?
Does not try. That's what it seems like to me. He's going cutter and changeups.
3-2. And again, it's that split changeup that this time was up in the zone, which was dangerous. See how quickly Billy Hamilton was at second base on that.
That was incredible.
Chopper. Cozart battling away.
And that was the best fastball of the night for Jorge at 91.
Rockies on the road trip, their starters had an 0.72 ERA in the first 4 games. 22 strikeouts against 6 walks. The league hitting just 153 against them, and this ball's bounced foul. That's the first 4 games. Again, here's the work of the 4 starters. The only guy who's given up runs, Christian Bergman, and he pitched really well. He gave up 2 runs in 5 innings and 2 solo home runs. Never changes, does it?
It does.
It's always about
the old starters.
The old starters.
Pitch number 9 is coming up in this at bat with Cozart.
And that's a base hit to left. He went with the fastball, and Cozart was all over it. And it's 4-1. Cincinnati as Hamilton scores. 4th RBI for Zach Cozart.
10th pitch of the at bat. Cozart saw everything that Jorge had to offer, was able to sit back, just trust, you know what, if I'm going to get beat, I can get beat. Fastball, center cut, up in the zone. That's another RBI for the Reds.
Billy Hamilton with that double to drive in 2, and then he just scored. 100+ stolen bases twice in the minor leagues. I asked Walt, I said, who's the fastest guy you ever played with and against? And he thought about it. And he, Walt played a long time. He said, Otis Nixon was fast, but when he played with him in Atlanta, Otis was later on in his career. He said Chucky Carr. Remember Chuck Carr with Miami?
Yes.
Chuck Carr could really run, and he said, but the fastest guy, never played with him, but I played against him, former Cincinnati Red, Deion Sanders.
Remember seeing Deion Sanders with the Cincinnati Reds at Dodger Stadium, and he laid down a bunt and was standing on second.
See Chris Russin's up here in the 2nd inning. Eugenio Suarez at the plate. He struck out in the 1st. See if Cozart looks to run. It's kind of been the theme here in the inning. 4 stolen bases in the inning against De La Rosa. Cozart, his first year at AAA, stole 30 bases and was caught only 4 times. He hasn't stolen much in the big leagues, but he's a middle infielder. He's got decent legs. And that's lined to right. Cozart heading toward 3rd. Carr goes up with the baseball. He'll stop there as Suarez keeps the inning alive. 30+ pitch inning for De La Rosa. He can't get that elusive 3rd out, and now Joey Votto, the 9th man to come up in the inning, is at the plate.
Oh, Walt's pacing in the dugout. This is another pitch just off the plate, up in the zone, that the Reds hitters are taking good approaches. We've seen 2 quality at bats, the last 2 between Cozart and Suarez, and taking the ball opposite field right there for an easy base hit.
Though he's hitting only .213 coming in, this is obviously the toughest out in the Reds lineup, and Votto takes strike 1. Joey, a career .310 hitter, which since 1945 is the best for a Red, better than Rose, better than Ken Griffey Sr. in his career, better than Sean Casey, the mayor. Al Morris at .305 in a Reds uniform also. Take all the great Reds players. Joey Votto's on top. Last year finished 3rd in the MVP voting. He was the MVP in 2010 in the National League. That was the year Cargo finished 3rd. Runner takes off, outside, no throw. 5 stolen bases as Suarez gets a bag. I mean, this become ridiculous.
You try not to get rattled when you're on the mound, let alone when you're playing the game. Reds running all over you. You can see De La Rosa's mannerisms and his body language on the mound. He's getting frustrated by it.
Understandably so. 2-1, and a quality swing by Votto fouls it back. 2-2. Well, there's all kinds of time in this game, especially with that Rockies offense. It's a 3-run deficit right now. I need not tell you, he needs to get Votto and get off the field here. 2 in scoring position. Votto is a perfectionist. like that swing, and he took an angry hack right after the foul ball, almost as if to check his path.
He's got a great bat path, and more than anybody, he knows exactly what his swing's supposed to do on certain pitches.
Two. You always worry when a hitter, especially a high-quality hitter, gets to see a lot of pitches in an at-bat.
Well, and whatever he's been working out or working on, we've seen it in batting practice. He hits the ball opposite field the whole time, and now he's able to try to translate it into a major league game. For hitters, sometimes it's one at bat, you feel your mechanics click.
Got him. Big strikeout for De La Rosa. Plenty of damage. 9 come to the plate, 4 score for Cincinnati on 5 hits, and the Reds have a 4-1 lead as we go to the 3rd. Not pleasant on the scoreboard right now. The Rockies trail 4-1. Fans of the Rockies score 7 or more runs. Go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 to receive your Rockies taco special. Liv Moss at Taco Bell. Drew Goodman, Ryan Spilborghs, Mark Stout from Great American Ballpark. In the 3rd inning, the Rockies have the top of the order, led by DJ LeMahieu. And Adam Ottavino's answered your questions, Billy. I started taking pictures when I was in high school, but it wasn't until I got an iPhone that I really took a lot of pictures. Jorge De La Rosa threw 37 pitches in that 2nd inning. Outside on LeMahieu, trying to break out of an 0-for-11 funk. And if you're wondering, the groin areas, it doesn't bother him when he's at the plate. Sometimes when you have a leg injury, Spilly, as you know, you lift, whatever your stride is, toe tap, you can feel it when the body, the swing comes from the ground up. But this particular injury, this nagging little injury for DJ, told us it doesn't bother him when he's at the plate. 2-1.
Well, I'm always worried by any injury that affects the mechanics of a player, whether it's his running mechanics, throwing mechanics, hitting mechanics, because this game is so fine with velocities and everything that just the smallest physical change can change a bat path, can change timing. And you can see the numbers for DJ. I mean, I'm not going to say it's because of the groin, but I'm certainly not going to dismiss it.
And off the end of the bat, 1 out. So that'll bring up Trevor. Trevor Story is one of 2 players in Major League Baseball that is in double digits with extra base hits. Trevor has 12 extra base hits. The other guy is the American League MVP, guy you're a big fan of, Josh Donaldson.
Well, and those numbers have come both at home and on the road. 7 road games, 5 homers, 8 RBIs, 833 slugging percentage at home, 6 games, 3 home runs, 6 stakes, and an 880 slugging percentage. And really, if you look at the 3 homers, he could have 5 and 5. There's 2 balls hitting Coors Field to hit the growth spurt fence that they put up at Coors Field.
Rockies dugout barking at Adrian Johnson, saying he didn't go. But Adrian Johnson has the final word. 1-1 on Story. 2-1.
Story's had a lot of check swings called strikes against him. A lot so far. I know umpires aren't picking on rookies, but we've seen quite a few where I felt that Trevor held his swing.
Got a pitch to hit there. He popped it up. And Votto makes the catch. 2 outs. Two outs, nobody on. Cargo will come up. Fly ball to left field in his first at bat against Stevenson. Story leads the big leagues in total bases with 47. He's 9 ahead of Bryce Harper. Excuse me, of Josh Donaldson. 10 ahead of Nolan and Cargo. Nolan and Cargo are tied for 3rd in baseball in total bases. Here's the 1-0. Outside 2-0. So good to see Cargo just continuing where he left off from last year, where very few were better the final 4 months. He had 40 home runs in the season, 36 in the final 4 months. Typically, at least the last couple of years, he has struggled in April. Not this year. So he's hitting 370 in April this year, 200 last year, 231 in 2014, and it's all tied to the legs.
Tied to the legs and his ability to stay back so he can hit the ball opposite field. We've seen a lot more opposite field hits so far in this short season than we have thinking back to last year. When he's at his best, when he won the batting title in 2010, a lot of opposite field base hits.
3-1 on Cargo. And that ball is absolutely lathered at Phillips. You know what? That'll be another one that you look back and off the bat, it came off at about 115 miles an hour, but Phillips was just positioned in the right spot. 4-1 Reds. All of our K2 Communications viewers from Meade, Colorado, we thank you for watching the Rockies on Root Sports. Make sure you let us know where you're watching from this evening on Twitter at @RootSports_RM. We go to the bottom of the third. Phillips started that rally last inning with a single to left. 4-1 Reds. And De La Rosa misses up high with an all-speed delivery. The 5 stolen bases allowed by De La Rosa last inning is a Rockies record in that they've never allowed 5 stolen bases in an inning before. And I don't know if there was a throw on it. Was there maybe one throw to third? And it was, I don't even remember if Tony could get a throw off to third. I mean, literally, they were stolen bases standing up. They were like Little League stolen bases. 1-1.
And it was easy to pick up. It was head movement. As soon as he looked at you, as soon as he turned his head, De La Rosa would go to the plate.
Do you have any other keys with lefties when you were at first that you looked at?
Well, you have a choice. If you have a timing, a lot of times when you're at first, you can count. You go 1001, 1002. Everybody has a timing mechanism. It goes in their brain. They just repeat it over and over again. So unless the catcher is telling the pitcher, hey, look twice, hold, then a pitcher is going to go to his normal rhythm. So you can count 1001, 1002, go. And then usually they'll pitch. Some guys will look at you and then tilt their head, and based on the tendencies that we watch, that we look at through video. Brian Jones does a great job as the Rockies video coordinator. Tom Runnels looks at it. Charlie Blackmon. Everybody, you might look at something and see, hey, head tilt. He only does 2 looks and then goes to the plate. But that's the beauty of baseball. Everybody has a mannerism. Everybody has a tick, something that they do every single time.
Find those lefties that when they looked at you, they went to the plate. When they looked at the plate, they go to first.
There are some that were notorious for doing that. Barry Zito was notorious for doing that. If he looked at home and picked up his leg, he was coming to first. If he looked at you and picked up his leg, he was going home. It was almost comical.
1-2, and that is down the line, and that will be, in all likelihood, a double for Brandon Phillips. And it's as if right now De La Rosa can get to 2 strikes, but because he doesn't have that extra couple of feet on the fastball, he's limited to throwing that split finger, and the Reds know it.
They know it's coming. Granted, 88% of the time it's a swing and miss pitch, but if you're up in the zone, that ball was a cutter inside. That's up in the zone. That's supposed to get hit. Paulson goes and grabs the baseball, not sure if he's going to go second, then decides, you know what, I have no play at second base.
Well, you got to watch Phillips. Brandon doesn't run as much as he used to, but given the circumstances of last inning, DJ trying to keep him close. He's right behind him.
And Phillips might be the 5th major league player in history as a second baseman to reach 2,000 hits, 200 homers, and 200 stolen bases. He's at 187 stolen bases. He has 184 home runs right now and 1,706.
Gives you an idea of what kind of career he's had. Not going, and Mesoraco takes inside, and it's 2-0.
Mesoraco is another player that 2014 he hit 25 home runs. Completely changed his approach. Primarily the first couple years in the big leagues, he wanted to hit the ball to right field. The crazy part about it, he hit less than 10 balls to right field. Mesoraco is a pull hitter. And after spending time in the offseason 2014 with the Reds hitting coach, he said, you know what, just go ahead and pull the baseball.
3-0 on Mesoraco, and I don't think Walt's going to mess around in this game. That is ball 4. You have 3 long guys because Bergman's available again. Also, Russon's been throwing. Russon's got to be ready to go, and Walt's not going to wait around and give up an opportunity to stay in this game. And here he comes right now. I mean, it's a 3-run game right at this juncture. And the way it's been going for De La Rosa, you know, it could completely get away from you. And that's just the feel from the dugout. It's a feel, quite frankly, from up here. See the disappointment on the face of De La Rosa. So the Rockies will go to the bullpen here with nobody out, 2 on in the 3rd, trailing by 3. Colorado Rockies baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Subaru. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. By Wells Fargo, customers get your 2-for-1 Rockies club level tickets by visiting wellsfargo.com/Rockies. By the Lodge Casino, pitching up a perfect game for cash every Friday and Saturday at Lodge Casino, your first choice for fun. And by GMC. So a tough night at the office for Jorge De La Rosa. He goes 2+, and the Rockies, De La Rosa down 4-1. Chris Russell will take over, and Jay Bruce steps up with Phillips at second and Mesoraco at first. Rockies employed the shift. Arenado's about 25 feet from third base, so there's a big opening on the left side of that bag at second.
Russell last threw on April the 13th against San Francisco, 2 1/3. Hasn't had much work lately because of how good the Rockies starting staff has been.
Ground ball to second. There's one, and that's the only play they'll have. Bruce, for a big man, runs decently, and that wasn't hit especially hard. So it's first and third, 1 out, and Tyler Holt will come up. Holt was hit by a pitch his first time. So Bruce at first, visiting with The original Rockies shortstop, Freddie Benavides. And you see Tony Walters in the picture, getting ready to catch his delivery from Rawson. Tony Walters, the guy at the plate, Tyler Holt, teammates in the Cleveland organization, coming up in A-ball and also in Double-A. They played together 2 years ago in Akron. Ground ball up the middle. Can the Rockies turn it? There's one on the first. Got him. And Holt runs well. So Chris Russin does a great job. He inherits a first and second situation. Does not allow a run. 4-1. Cincinnati will go to the fourth. Much 4-1 here. The Reds on top. Nolan's going to lead it off in the fourth inning. He had a sharp ground ball to third, his first time against the rookie Robert Stevenson. What a job by Chris Russin last inning. And that was neat. That's a keep you in the game kind of inning by Russin out of the pen.
You needed to make sure you keep the game still within 3 runs. Granted, it's only the fourth inning, but you talk about winning the inning. That gives the Rockies a chance to come in, build some momentum. You have Nolan, you have the heart of the lineup coming up. Try to get a run off this rookie.
So De La Rosa threw 63 pitches in 2+ innings. Four runs on 6 hits. He walked 1, struck out 5. 1 ball, 1 strike. Arenado, Parra, and Reynolds. The Rockies got a run in the second, first run of the game, in fact. 2-out double by Reynolds and a single followed by Ben Paulson. Inside, 2-1 on Arenado.
Stevenson still hasn't shown me that he's able to command his secondary pitches. That curveball has not been a strike yet so far tonight. For the Rockies hitters, you just keep hunting the fastball.
To short, Cozart, 1 out. The Coors Light Cold Hard Facts are brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Starts by a first base, second base combo in Reds history. It's actually in Major League history. Jeff Bagwell, Craig Biggio played 1,500+ games together on the right side for Houston. Gehrig and Lazzeri way back with the Yankees, 1,400 plus. Howard and Utley, the great years with Philly. Grace and Sandberg, 1,000 plus. You know, Garvey and Lopes, Russell, they were all together along with Ron Say for 9.5 years. The infield never changed with the Dodgers. But it got me thinking, you know, last night, looking at that right side and knowing that Phillips and Votto had played together for so long. What about Joe Morgan and Tony Perez? This ball's pulled to second. Well, Dougie did some research, and Morgan and Perez, the Hall of Famers, played 656 games together. It seemed like longer, though, didn't it?
It really did. Big Red Machine.
Stevenson has retired 6 in a row. He retired the first 5 of the game, then gave up double, single, and walk with 2 outs in the second, and now 6 in a row since then. He's getting a lot of ground balls. Guy who got the Rockies going was this man, Mark Reynolds, with a booming double to right center field.
You know, I see when a pitcher starts feeling a little more confident on the mound, you can see Stevenson walking around the mound. You want to make it feel like that's your place. We just saw Jake Arrieta where he completely owned the clay circle. And see, as guys get more and more comfortable, they're standing on the rubber a little bit longer, or they're getting to the rubber quicker.
Well, he seems to be confident for a guy making just his second big league start. Again, the #1 prospect for the Reds. Foul ball off Mark's foot, looked like 2-2.
Much better mound presence for him now in the last couple innings.
Did you check to see if his middle name is Louis? Lewis? Spelled it differently than the author. 2-2. And a slider strikes out Mark Reynolds. That's 7 in a row now, set down. This kid can flat rake. I was watching him earlier. 4-1 Reds.
Cincinnati, the Reds lead. We go bottom 4, and Robert Stevenson, a young Red, is leading off. Whenever I come here, I think about the history of the Reds and baseball. First team back in 1869. And then I looked at all the players from the state of Ohio. And Drew and Spilly, I wanted to do the all-Ohio team, Ohio-born, and all Hall of Famers. You'll recognize many of the names. Mike Schmidt from Dayton at third base. George Sisler at first base. And the list goes on and on. You can even go with Walter Austin as your manager and Branch Rickey, who's from Ohio, as your GM. So some great names and some great numbers there to just think about when you think about the history of baseball in Cincinnati and Ohio.
Where'd you put Jim Tracy, Mark?
Jim Tracy's a bench coach. He's not in the Hall of Fame, but I know I should have had him on the list, right?
He's from Hamilton.
He's
right outside of
Right.
Cincinnati.
You know, I should have had Jim on there. We'll go with bench coach.
He's going to be upset with you.
Yeah, he's got a shot at the. Well,
I thought you said Johnny Bench was from Ohio.
I didn't.
Okay.
Buck Ewing was.
They had to be born there, huh?
Yeah, they'd have been born in the state here.
Boy, this tough chance. Arenado's going to still get Stevenson. Amazing. Talking to Walt yesterday about, or this afternoon, thank you, about the play that Arenado made yesterday on Billy Hamilton. You said it was the perfect bunt, and he still threw him out by 2 steps yesterday. Look at this play by Nolan. I get it, a pitcher's running, but that's still,
that ball's
flawless.
Bouncing. He threw that with one finger. He threw that with his index finger and his thumb. That's it.
He is something else.
Well, and here's Billy. He goes, you know what? I'm going to go for a push bunt. Let's see if he can pay attention to where the ball is in his fingers. To me, it looked like he has one finger on it. He's able to throw it. That's incredible.
Incredible. Billy Hamilton takes his second pitch out of the zone, 2-0.
So many times that a player doesn't have a chance to get the grip right, set up the seam so he can throw 4 seams so the ball doesn't take off on him.
On the inside corner for a strike at 90. 2-1 on Hamilton. Big football star in Collins, Mississippi growing up. Had a scholarship, football scholarship at Mississippi State, and they were going to let him play both football and baseball. He's a wideout. That's on the outside corner. He was a big Ole Miss fan. I said, all right, what's your fastest 60 ever? That's the baseball measurement. 6.3 flat. 6.30. Three and 2.
Ole Miss, that's where Seth Smith went to school.
That is where Seth went.
Seth was a backup quarterback to Eli Manning. We always used to make fun of it.
On the ground to second. 2 outs. So last night, here's the bunt by Billy Hamilton. And as you described, Spilly, this was a perfect bunt.
He's probably bunted that 100 times in his career just like that and knew that's a base hit. In his mind, he knew that's the perfect bunt, base hit. Nope. Not with that guy at third base.
Two gone, and Zach Cozart will come up. You know, some of you at home may be saying, wait a second, Ken Griffey Jr., he went to Moeller High School here in Cincinnati. He did, but he was born in Pennsylvania. So that was Mark's criteria. He was born in Donora, Pennsylvania. Former Rocky was born in Dayton, who was a good player, former Rookie of the Year. I want to be only when I grow up, so do a lot of people. Todd Hollinsworth was born in Dayton. Trevor Story's got it, pulls it to his chest and throws him out. Nice job by Russ in the 4th inning. See if the Rockies can get the offense going against the kid Robert Stevenson. 4-1 Reds. Colorado Rockies baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Fifth inning from Great American Ballpark in downtown Cincinnati. Rockies trailing 4-1. Ben Paulson will lead it off. So Adam Ottavino wants to be Nolan when he grows up. Got me wondering, when he wasn't pitching growing up in Brooklyn, Otto, where did you play? Were you a shortstop? Then Otto went on to Northeastern University, eventually a first-round pick of the Cardinals. And this ball lined to the corner and right. That's a good start to the inning. Extra bases for Paulson. Leadoff double for Ben. He's 2 for 2. So going back to last night, the only thing he's short of in his last 3 at-bats, well, you got to have 4 at-bats to produce a cycle. He needs a triple now.
Needs a triple. And when Ben Paulson's at his best, he gets balls down low, and he's able to, he almost has what Brad Hobb had. We called it a scoop. Anything down in the zone, he could handle it.
Well, he described it best last night to Mark Stout, like so many left-handed hitters. The ball down and in is to their liking.
Well, and he can handle that pitch and hit it opposite field as well.
Tony Walters walked his first time up. Chris Russin on deck. Russin has settled things down on the other side of things for the Rockies. Now, see if Colorado can chip away. Just a 3-run game, and it's only the 5th inning. Two and 0.
Stevenson's been using his changeup, not his curveball. We've been paying attention to that. Fastball command is there. He does miss arm side. We've seen quite a few errant throws with this fastball up and away to the batters. But as I mentioned before, the curveball is not a pitch he can control yet.
Touches the outside corner, and he's trying to work away to keep Walters from pulling the baseball here after the leadoff double.
When you're watching a young pitcher for the first time, you're looking for pitches that he can control and pitches you can eliminate.
And Tony hits it in the air to right, tagging Paulson. And here's the throw by Bruce. It's cut off. So a nice job by Walters, moving the runner up 90 feet. And that'll bring up Russin.
Catch the action when the Los Angeles Dodgers come to town this Friday through Sunday. Get your tickets today.
If it wasn't Chris Russin, you may see Walt again with some depth. Got 7 innings out of Jordan Lyles yesterday with depth in the bullpen. Go to the bench here. Try to make sure he gets that run. But Russin's ability to handle the bat, I mean legitimately handle the bat, he's going to give him a chance here to get the ball in play and drive in that run at third with 1 out. Ball 1. Just see his mannerisms at the plate, Spilly. He handles himself like a position player. He's confident at the plate.
Well, he's an athlete, and as you can see, the Reds are conceding the run. The ball on the ground right here will allow Ben Paulson to score pretty easily. Sometimes you'll see an infield come in and play with the infield in to try to force a hitter like Russin to get the ball in the air, but Reds are not going to take that chance for an easy ball to go over the infield and extend an inning.
Whoa. 2-1.
Russin has a career batting average. Get this, Drew. .316 batting average with runners in scoring position.
There's a lot of guys who are jealous who don't pitch.
6 for 19 with a homer.
Called strike, 2-2. Chris thought that was down. can see on the Subaru strike zone, the first called strike by Adrian Johnson clearly was down. 2-2. That's a good job, man. That was a nasty changeup. That was a real good job by Russin.
Fastball taken down. You're going to follow that up with the changeup right after. That looks more like a curveball. Russin doing what you're supposed to try to do. Fight it off. Get yourself another pitch that he's able to get the ball in towards the middle part of the field.
Looks like he presets a split grip. Comes off that grip. Here's the 2-2. And it's popped up. It'll take a 2-out hit. Phillips makes the catch, and that'll bring up LeMahieu. Two gone. Paulson at third. Going back to his days in Brooklyn in high school, Otto says I played literally every position growing up. Catching was my favorite besides pitching. Pretty good arm behind the plate, huh? DJ trying to snap an 0 for 12. Now would be a lovely time for that. Leadoff double for Paulson. 2 outs now with the Rockies down 4-1 in their half of the 5th. Center field, and it'll hang up for Hamilton. So Paulson left at third, middle of 5. It remains the Reds 4 and the Rockies 1. Here's our first bank game recap. Jorge De La Rosa had a nice first inning, 1, 2, 3, and 3 strikeouts, but he ran into trouble in the second inning. 37 pitches, hits, and couldn't put hitters away. And there were 5 stolen bases in the inning for Cincinnati, all of them standing up. I don't think anybody had to slide. And the Reds would come up with 4 runs. 4-1 they lead, and the Rockies have not done much against the rookie Robert Stevenson. So we go to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Chris Russin's done a real fine job since coming in. Eugenio Suarez, Joey Votto, and Brandon Phillips. The first pitch in there, strike 1 on Suarez. 1 for 2. He singled in that 4-run second. It's 0-2 now on Suarez.
There was 4 other times in Rockies history where a starting pitcher gave up 5 stolen bases in a game. Brian Bohannon, Byung-Hyun Kim, Colin McHugh, and Kevin Ritz.
Bohannon was left-handed, but nobody had ever given up 5 in 1 inning. Last team to produce 5 steals in 1 inning was the Texas Rangers in 2010. Popped up, long run for everybody. Cargo will get there. And the reason being is LeMahieu was all the way over on the left side. There are conventional plays in the past that all of a sudden you look out there and you say, wait a second, there's nobody there. And Cargo got a great jump on this. So now you see the defense before the pitch, and it's popped up. This normally, you know, easy play for the second baseman. But Cargo had to come sprinting in. Now think about that if you're at Coors Field, where the outfield is much more vast.
That ball's probably falling, but that's also why it's so important to have that first step quickness to realize that infielders aren't where they normally are. So as an outfielder, even though it's a ball that you've been trained at, that normally this is where a second baseman catches it, you have to rethink it now.
Here's the 1-1 on Votto. That's a nasty curveball. He got on top of that. A lot of depth on that curveball. 1-2. Votto has struck out twice in the game, both against De La Rosa. A little bit of a quick pitch from Russin. He did that to Suarez. 2-2. That's how gifted Joey Votto is. He knows the strike zone. He always walks 100+ times. Career .432 on base percentage. Last year, in 107 games, he reached twice. Good play by Story. He's starting to get a rep for his defense also. Not getting as many highlights shown nationally defensively as he is offensively quite yet, but he can pick it. That play he made in Chicago the other day, I'm still shaking my head about.
He's had a couple where I think he's made top 10 lists, but still not the recognition that he will eventually garner.
Phillips is 2 for 2, single and a double. Healthy rip there. Here's the play. Leading off the 9th inning, Dexter absolutely smoked that ball. And Trevor came up with it, and then he had to make a quick and accurate throw. Nolan was fired up. One and one. 7 in a row retired by Chris Russin since entering the game. In the 3rd inning, he inherited a 1st and 2nd, nobody out situation. Got out of that with a ground out and then a double play ground ball. 1, 2, 3, 4th. He's got the first 2 men here in the 5th in the thick part of the Reds lineup. One, two. I don't know how Brandon got a piece of that. He hit that off the dirt.
Subaru Strike Zone cam has it in the batter's box. Well, we know Russin is pretty comfortable pitching in Cincinnati last year with that spot start through 7 innings. Had a great spot start.
Line to right to the corner. And Phillips has his 3rd hit. Cargo goes down on the dirt. And Phillips will have a triple. Single, double, triple for Brandon Phillips in the ball game.
Russin going with the quick pitch, and Phillips was ready for it. As Cargo gives chase, he loses footing on the soft dirt. Phillips seeing it, paying attention, listening to the crowd. He's able to get to third base pretty easily.
First hit off Chris Russin. And here's Mesoraco, a single and a walk. Mesoraco, an all-star back in 2014 when he hit 25 home runs. Just outside, it's 2-0.
As I was watching Brandon Phillips running right there, there are different things a base runner can do to know when to go to third. You really can listen to the crowd and have an idea where the ball is at based on the pitch of the audience. You'd be surprised.
2-1.
Obviously, you want to pick up your third base coach because he's going to be able to tell you.
See so many guys, though, with the ball behind them trying to
look back
in their
yeah,
neck
it's silly.
to see. Bouncer to third. That's a fair ball. Nolan on the move. Out at first base. What a job by Mark Reynolds. Now, is Mark all right? That was a great play by Reynolds. Not only to field the hop, but somehow stay on the bag. Nolan checking on his teammate at first. Wow.
He was the guy that invented swag.
Just the best swing ever.
Put the hat backwards in the home run derby.
When I used to play on my Super NES, King Griffey Jr. baseball.
When I was little, I was like, I don't care if I have to see it over deck. I just want to be able to get to the ballpark and watch King Griffey Jr. play baseball.
There's our clubhouse confessional. The guy's talking about Ken Griffey Jr. We can't mention him enough in Cincinnati, considering he's going into the Hall of Fame in July, and so many guys emulated Jr. Look at his numbers, the Gold Gloves, the 600 home runs, and that percentage of him being voted in to the Hall is impressive. Cargo's going to hit here in this inning. And Spilly, you can talk about our conversation with him today about the number 24 and how I said to him, did you feel like Ken Griffey Jr. when you're playing right field? He's like, no, he couldn't wear 24 here. You can pick it up from there, Spilly.
Well, he couldn't wear number 24 at Cincinnati because of Tony Perez. His number was retired, and Cargo, throughout Little League, always wore number 24. He worked on his swing to finish like Ken Griffey Jr. And he said once Griffey joined the Cincinnati Reds, his very first number was number 30. And he goes, man, he's not number 30 anymore. And then he ended up being number 3, and Griffey changed it to that because of his 3 children. And Cargo says, I don't care. He's a Seattle Mariner. 24 is his number.
Yeah, he wore 30 here because his dad did back in the Big Red Machine days.
That's still one of my favorite images. Watching his dad and Junior play together.
They went back to back.
They went back to back in the big league. I mean, you can't write that stuff.
Spilly, did you play right field when Junior was out there?
Yeah, my major league debut, I
Really?
ran by Ken Griffey Jr., who hit a homer, and I said, nice swing, kid.
What did he say to you?
Ah, you big league me.
1-2. 2-2. Trying to get Story to chase that breaking ball as he did in the first inning. 0 for 2 tonight. Huge home run last night for Trevor in the 8th inning. That gave the Rockies a 2-1 lead, and then a couple more base runners, and Paulson made it 5-1. Rockies down 4-1 here, and this is pulled to third. Suarez gets the out.
Carlos Gonzalez spent so much time trying to mimic his swing to look like Ken Griffey Jr. He loved the finish, he loved the swag, he loved everything about the high finish and the bat drop. And as you can see with Carlos Gonzalez, it's pretty remarkable how close those two are. Even if you ask Cargo, can you do a different finish? He goes, no, I've tried. I can't do it. But he loves Ken Griffey, and that swing is paying homage to the great Junior.
You know what? And obviously, he spent a lot of time in the big leagues. Here's the first pitch to Cargo. I would say, in the last 10 years, and we ask players all the time, who'd you emulate growing up? Who'd you idolize? Who'd you like watching? I would think Ken Griffey, by fourfold, was the most frequently mentioned name the last 10 years. Cargo hits this ball high in the air to left field, got under it a little bit. Colt waiting, 2 outs. Would you agree? I mean, you talked to teammates through the years.
We could talk to Jay Bruce in right field. Jay Bruce loved Ken Griffey Jr. He loved him so much. In fact, he tried to call using his family's phone long distance to the Metrodome and tried to get Ken Griffey Jr. on the line.
Is that right?
Yeah, he wears nothing but Griffey Jr. shoes. That's the cleats that Jay Bruce is wearing today. In his very first month in the big leagues, he said all he did was pick Junior's brain and just ask him because Ken Griffey Jr. was his locker mate. You talk about a thrill for a player.
Here's Nolan. He takes strike 1. And the thing about Juniors, and you got to know Junior, and I talked to him on the occasions that the Rockies played a team that Junior was on. He truly was a kid, even later in his career. He's a fun-loving guy.
He is a prankster. He's a notorious prankster. He pulls a lot of jokes on his teammates. I met him last year again off the field in New York at Secaucus when I had the pleasure of being the Rockies draft. What would you call it? Myself called it, where it said Brendan Rodgers, you're the first overall pick.
Well, we showed the video of Walt when Trevor Story was the #1 pick. You made the announcement of the Rockies' first round pick.
Announcer. Well, I met Griffey there, and he was giving everybody the same stuff that he did as a player. He was fantastic.
1-2 on Nolan. And he gets under this one, and Billy Hamilton will have a routine play. 5 in a row set down by Stevenson. The Rockies have only 3 hits against him. 4-1, Reds lead. Let's go back to that play that ended the 5th inning. Nolan makes a typical Nolan play, and the throw was one hopped over there, and look at the split done by Mark Reynolds.
He must do Bikram yoga, a lot of it.
He evidently is okay because he's back out there on defense. Jay Bruce against Chris Russin takes ball 1. So you want to be a gymnast. Pretty good flexibility.
Well, and to keep your right foot on the bag to get the out.
I don't know about you, but that was painful to watch.
Didn't feel good.
Long run, Ben Paulson. He's going to get there near the line. Good job by Benny. That will bring to the plate Tyler Holt, hit by a pitch and scored in the 2nd. Rounded into a 4-6-3 double play in the 3rd. Well, Chris Russin has done his job, Spilly. He's put a stop sign up on Cincinnati's offense. Unfortunately for the Rockies, Stevenson has retired 13 out of 14. For Russin, 3 1/3, no runs, just 1 hit.
Well, Russin's keeping the Rockies right in a position where they can, if they can answer back, they're right in the game.
They're getting to their time of the night, 7th inning, right?
Yep, right where they want them. It's fun watching Walters and Holt jawing with each other, former teammates. A little grin on each other's faces. Holt walked up into the plate.
Good pitch, 2-1.
Well, nobody knows somebody's swing path better than somebody you've spent a lot of time in the minor leagues with, you've spent time in the cage with. Walters is going to keep going to that spot.
Holt fouls it off. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Stevenson's 87 pitches in, but he's been so good. Brian Price doesn't have anybody up right now in the Reds bullpen.
Yeah, why? Kid is settling down. He's commanding his secondary pitches. After the 4th inning, after the 3rd inning, once he started throwing his curveball for a strike, we saw a Reynolds strike out. Then he started using his changeup, and now he's been very, very dominant.
That's a base hit. That'll bring up Stevenson. We have another tweet, I've been told. Adam, do you think you could strike out Spilly?
Of course he can. He had a slider. There wasn't
Right
a
now?
slider I could hit. Let's see. I like my
Did Otto already respond? How kind is he? What do we got here?
He said I had sneaky
Oh.
pop. Clint Hurdle said it best. I had nerd pop.
Chance to turn two. There's one on the first. Wide on the throw, and that one is going to go out of play. So it's going to be a throwing error on Trevor Story, and Stevenson will end up at second base.
Well, thanks for saying that, Otto. I appreciate it. Bryant Russin jumps off the mound quickly, throws the ball. Story just errant throw. DJ LeMahieu's covering first. You don't see that too often. Not like that.
Yeah, and you can see Trevor was really upset with himself because he had plenty of time to complete that. And the throw just got away from him. So Billy Hamilton at the plate. Hamilton slices that one foul. Otto should like his chances no matter who Diane asked to strike them out.
Otto throws way, his fastball is too fast for my bat speed, and I couldn't touch his slider. So. You wouldn't have to be careful, Otto. You can tell me what's coming. I wouldn't be able to touch it.
Hamilton lines it. Mark Reynolds is there. Didn't even have to do a split to catch that one. So no harm done on the throwing error. And we will go to the seventh. It's the Rockies' time of night, down by 3. Night for Vinny and a great night for Nolan. I'm thrilled that Vinny was able to be there. That's quite an honor going into the Colorado Sports Hall of Fame. Good class. Milan Hajduk up top along with Vinny. Christian McCaffrey, he was pretty good last autumn, wasn't he?
Not a bad player.
Wow. I was talking about him earlier with a buddy of mine, Dave Lapham, who did so many years of college football with. Dave, the longtime color analyst on radio here with the Bengals, former Bengal himself for a decade. And we were talking about McCaffrey. He's the best high school football player I've ever seen.
From Valor.
From Valor Christian, and runner-up to the Heisman Trophy last year. And see what he does this year at Stanford.
Stevenson has been very impressive. 6 ground ball outs, 10 fly ball outs, only 2 strikeouts, but he's induced a lot of weak contact.
Again, 87 pitches in the 7th inning and beyond. This is where the Rockies have really come to life this year. Gerardo Parra 0 for 2, a pop out and a ground ball to second. And he takes a strike at the knees. Cingrani's on the left side. Cotham, who we saw last night, is the right-hander. Tony Cingrani's the only left-hander that Brian Price has down there. Jeff Hoffman is going for Albuquerque this evening. Albuquerque, as they go to the bottom of the 2nd at home, the Isotopes leading 5-1. Jordan Patterson, who's off to an unbelievable start. He's hitting close to 400 a couple weeks in, hit a granny in the 1st inning. Hoffman gave up a solo home run in the 2nd. Patterson's average sitting at 386. That kicks away. 2-2.
Patterson last year started the year in high A, jumped up to AA, and he's up to AAA already this season.
He's out of Alabama, and he was impressive during spring training. Real good looking, rangy athlete, 6'4", can run. He's played some center. He's more of a corner outfielder. 2-2. And that's gloved by Stevenson. 1 out.
The first Purple Monday of the year is this Friday, April 25th. Wear purple, win prizes, and the first 5,000 fans will receive a Colorado Rockies Newsboy cap. A Newsboy cap.
To go along with that, the T-shirt, right? The pocket
yeah, the
T-shirt.
pocket T-shirt, pocket-sized T-shirt.
Jordan Patterson, 4th round pick in 2013 after playing collegiately at same school as Juan Pierre, South Alabama. Fouled off by Mark Reynolds. And Jeff Hoffman continues to throw the baseball beautifully for Albuquerque after a real solid spring training himself. First spring training with the Rockies organization. Came in the Tulo trade.
Now Stevenson's really starting to get all 3 pitches working for him. The command on the mound is obvious now.
Asheville lost tonight 5-4. Actually, I should say they're losing in the 7th inning. Brendan Rodgers has hit another home run, his 3rd. Rockies' top pick a year ago.
Interesting thing about Rodgers, they've had him at second base a couple starts this year, as well as shortstop.
Good eye. And that missed, so it's 3-2 on Mark. Paulson waiting his turn. Ball 4. So now Paulson will come up, and Paulson's the one guy that's figured Stevenson out. He's 2 for 2. Base hit in the 2nd to drive in a run, and then a sharp double in the 5th inning. He has 2 of the Rockies' 3 hits. Rockies have had only 4 base runners. The only other man to reach was Tony Walters, who walked in the 2nd. Here's Ben's night.
RBI single with 2 outs right there, and then a fastball down that he's able to shoot into right field. He's got to feel comfortable about this at bat right here.
Change-ups outside, and now Mesoraco will run out to the mound. You know, as a manager, Brian Price's background as a pitching coach, you're real mindful, especially with a kid. It could go quickly, and you want to be prepared for that. And he is. He has 2 guys up in the bullpen, but you know, veteran guy may get that extra hitter or slack, and you know, Price is really going to eyeball him right now.
Well, you have to trust your eyesight. You have to trust what he looks like on the mound. Is the command still there? Is the stuff still there?
And it's 2-0. Walters is on deck, and then you'll get a pinch hitter for Russin. Justin Miller up for the Rockies. He and Darren Holmes peeking through the windows.
Well, you would like to make Brian Price pay for having Stevenson out there maybe a pitch too long.
This ball's fouled off. Ben not pleased with either his decision to swing at that 2-0 or the result of the swing. Not sure which. Two and two. In the Eastern League, the Yard Goats of Hartford lost for just the 4th time this year. New Hampshire beat them 7-2. New Hampshire AA affiliate of the Blue Jays.
See if Stevenson misses in a part of the plate that Ben can handle.
Struck him out. His 3rd strikeout tonight. But he's kept the Rockies hitters for the most part off the barrel.
It's the curveball right there, down in the zone. Ben likes the ball down. Just a well-located pitch. Paulson's upset because he had 2 pitches in that bat. 2-0 and 2-1 where he felt like he could do some sort of damage, and he missed them both.
Christian Adames for the moment on deck. That's sharply hit, but right at Brandon Phillips. So Tony Walters grounds into a force out that ends the inning. Middle of 7. It is still 4-1 Cincinnati. Let's check our Cooney Lexus look back. Rockies got the first run of the ball game. Broken bat single with 2 outs by Ben Paulson to bring home Mark Reynolds, who had doubled with 2 outs. Unfortunately, that's all the Rockies have this evening. In the bottom of the second, things went awry for Jorge De La Rosa. He gave up 4 runs on 5 hits. He's hit by Zach Cozart on the 10th pitch of an at-bat, drove home a run, and then Billy Hamilton bounced one into left field to drive in 2. And it was a short outing for Jorge De La Rosa. Justin Miller's going to take over here in the 7th inning. Big attaboy to Chris Russin. Picked up 4 innings, did not allow a run, just 2 hits. Strong outing from Chris Russin in long release. And now Miller in the bottom of the 7th. We'll see Cozart, Suarez, and Votto, top 3 in the Reds lineup.
Last time we saw Miller in Chicago, his slider was back. We were seeing the plane, just the change in direction, the big sharp break that we're accustomed to seeing with the slider. And we saw the fastball with good run.
Cozart 1 for 3. Came in with a .455 average, and he calls for time, granted by the 8-year veteran home plate umpire Adrian Johnson. Stevenson got handshakes when he went to the dugout. Tonight's a first for Cincinnati this year. Slider misses. Stevenson becomes the first Reds pitcher to work a full 7 innings this year. Coming into tonight, only the Reds and Marlins in Major League Baseball had not had a pitcher go at least 7 innings this year. We can cross the Reds off the list. He made an emergency start, and it turned out to be a great one.
Well, the Reds have to be happy about that kid's future. #1 prospect for the last couple of years. Settled down nicely today and was able to get through the Rockies batting lineup fairly easy. They have Homer Bailey coming back. Anthony DeScalfini is coming back, who led the Reds with innings pitched and wins and strikeouts last year. Michael Lorenzen was a big prospect for the last couple of years. He's coming back.
Stevenson threw 105 pitches, 7 innings, a run on 3 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. The Rockies will try to rally against that bullpen of Cincinnati, the much maligned bullpen. 3-1 on Cozart. Good fastball fouled off. Center field. Parr is there.
All fans through the gates this Saturday, April 23rd, will receive a monthly wall calendar courtesy of us here at Root Sports. You get Nolan on the cover.
Speaking of covers, as Suarez comes up, the cover of the Reds media guide features 2 players. Suarez 1 for 3. I'll show you that media guide here in a minute. There's a strike. The all-time hits leader, Pete Rose, because Pete Rose being inducted into the Reds Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And then Junior, who's going into the big time Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, not to dismiss going into the Reds Hall of Fame. And he said, well, how come Pete got top billing and Junior's down here? The only thing I can think of is that Junior is going in as a Seattle Mariner. If it was, if he was going in as a Red, you'd have to believe he'd be on the cover, maybe even by himself.
That's a very good point.
Right. There's a building beyond the right field wall at Moeller High School. It's a big power in football and baseball. This ball's a line shot, and it's gloved there by Trevor Story. Suarez is out. And Junior used to hit him on top of that building with regularity when he was in high school.
Well, he'd hit it to the top of the Kingdom with regularity.
But I mean, he was
And
in
he's
high
right
school
out
then.
of, yeah, but he was right out of high school playing in the big leagues too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Guess they figured he was going to be pretty good pretty quick.
It's been interesting watching Joey Votto. Feel like he's been grinding the last couple days, just trying to get his swing worked right.
0 for 3 tonight. First righty he's seen tonight. He was 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts against De La Rosa, and he grounded out into the shift 6-3 in the 5th inning against Russet. To left field. Paulson's there, and a 1-2-3 7th inning for Justin Miller. So we'll go to the 8th. The Rockies need to kickstart that offense, down 4-1. It is time for our Kubota pitching performance. Making his second major league start, Robert Stevenson. You were hoping for a Jekyll and Hyde performance tonight, but you never got the Hyde. He was terrific throughout. 7 innings, 3 hits, and that 1 run allowed in the second. 105 pitches. He's in line for the victory unless the Rockies can rally against this Reds bullpen down by 3 runs. Christian Adames is going to pinch hit. It's 9-1-2 in the Rockies lineup. Stevenson looks on. Hard throwing Caleb Cotham, who the Rockies saw last night, will take over.
And as you can see, he has no ERA because he has not given up a run in any of his 7 appearances. But what bodes well for the Rockies is this Reds bullpen. The last 7 games, an 8.33 ERA. And the Reds, during that stretch, they are 1-6. Bullpen has given up 11 home runs so far this year.
That is not good.
It's
good for the opponent.
Rockies. Yeah, good for the Rockies.
So here's Christian. Set up away, and the fastball's down the middle at 92. No television tomorrow. It would be a morning start back in the Mountain Time Zone. Chad Bettis will have the baseball for the Rockies tomorrow. We'll pick up again on Friday when the Rockies open up a homestand against the Dodgers. Swung on and missed. DJ coming up the day after every Rockies victory. Get 50% off your online order at Papa John's. Use the promo code ROXWIN at papajohns.com. Continuing in the string of young pitchers for the Reds, they'll throw Raisel Iglesias tomorrow. Young man with a good arm.
Had a chance to see him in spring training. Same mechanics. He is from Cuba as El Duque. Looked just like him.
Strike on DJ. Pop out, ground out, fly out.
Well, Cotham is showing Brian Price that he should be a reliever to consider deep into the game. Coca-Cola value packs are back for the 2016 season. Available every value game, including April 25th through 28th versus the Pirates for either $59 or $79, depending on your seat location.
The Rockies have had 2 base runners since the 2nd inning when they scored their only run. Double leading off the 5th by Paulson. He was stranded at 3rd, and then the 1-out walk in the 7th inning to Reynolds. Reynolds has been on twice, Paulson twice, Tony Walters a walk. That's it. Trevor Story 0 for 3. Strikeout, pop out, ground ball to 3rd. He takes a strike. So from a standpoint of at bat to home run ratio, Mark McGwire all time hit a home run every 10.61 at bats. We'll show you the list here in a moment. There's a reason we're doing this. That's fouled off. Babe Ruth was 2nd in home runs per at bat, 11.76. Barry Bonds 12.92. Trevor Story right now is hitting a home run every 6.88 at bats. Look out, Big Mac and Babe. 0-2 on Story.
Kaufman's a nice looking reliever, acquired with the Aroldis Chapman deal from the New York Yankees.
This ball's lined toward right center field. Hamilton trying to outrun the baseball, and he does. 1-2-3 inning for Cotham in the 8th. 4-1 Cincinnati. Colorado Rockies baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. And by Volkswagen. Great American Ballpark on the shores of the Ohio River. Southern Ohio. And the Cincinnati Reds leading the Rockies 4-1 with Ryan Spilborghs and Mark Stout. I'm Drew Goodman. Been a big night for Brandon Phillips. Single, double, triple tonight. And the Rockies have David Hale to throw the bottom of the 8th inning.
Recently recalled up from Albuquerque, threw a couple days ago in Chicago.
And the slider. Stolen strike again by Tony Walters. 0-1.
Well, you know Brandon Phillips knows what's on the line right here. And I would expect to see him take a couple hacks, try to drive one out of the yard.
And he's going to have to settle for a 4-for-4 night. Took the collar last night. It's been perfect this evening. 2 singles, a double, and a triple. And that'll bring up Devin Mesoraco. Single, a walk, and a ground ball to third for Mesoraco tonight. Out of play.
Mesoraco went to Punxsutawney Area High School in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Is that the same place where they filmed Groundhog's Day?
Well, they filmed it because that's where the groundhog comes out every year.
That's where Punxsutawney Phil pops out.
Yeah, and you find out if there's going to be 6 more weeks of winter. Get a lot of attention in Punxsutawney, whatever, in February.
I have Groundhog's Day as one of my top 15 movies that I watch occasionally on my iPad. It's actually saved on my iPad because I love it so much.
Funny movie.
It's a great movie.
David Hale working a Mesoraco, 1-1. Phillips at first. For Brandon, it's his 13th 4-hit game of his career. He's never had a 5-hit game. Phillips out of Stone Mountain, Georgia. Was Sean Casey still in the game when you were playing?
Yes.
Did you ever get to first with Sean there?
Yeah, oh yeah. He told me I was my first major league game, 2005. I get a first base hit. He goes, "You can make a habit of this?" I go, "I don't know."
Mesoraco lines it to center. Parra's got it. He's telling Phillips, "Hey, you better get back." Phillips waved at him. That was funny.
Live Rockies baseball is back in 2016 with MLB.com at bat on your smartphone or tablet. You can watch Gerardo Parra throw out Brandon Phillips at first. Stay connected with live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more.
Jay Bruce coming up, and the Rockies are going to make a change. Go get a left-hander, with which they have 4 of them down in the bullpen. It'll be Jason Gurka. 4-1 Reds. Paulson have now departed.
I think it stems back to this. Fly ball to center field. Parra wanted to throw it. Said, okay.
He's like, yeah, smart move, Brandon. Get back quickly. And then Brandon waved at him too. Watch Phillips. Whoa.
So throw it. Come on.
Jay Bruce against Jason Gurka with 1 out. And Brandon Phillips at first.
Gurka leads all Rockies relievers with 9 innings pitched. Walt has asked him to get quite a few innings in certain games where either the game's been out of hand or they're trying to hang on long enough to get the offense back into the game. Here's a situation where they're asking him to get Jay Bruce out right away.
Ground ball, foul. Bottom of the 8th, 4-1 Cincinnati. Jay Bruce with 2 stolen bases in that second inning when the Reds stole 5 bases with De La Rosa on the mound. It's not the first time Bruce has stolen 2 bases in a game. In fact, it's the 3rd time in his career he's done that. First time in 2.5 years, though. Shallow center, Parra with the catch.
Brandon Phillips was running back to first base like he was going to tag up on Parra. We were playing reindeer games tonight.
You know, you got to play with joy, and I keep bringing this out. That's what Parra plays with.
So does Brandon Phillips.
Yeah, Brandon Phillips is always smiling.
He's had a smile the entire game.
It helps make the game less painful when it is painful, and you know it's painful periodically.
Oh, yeah.
Tyler Holt, his first start of the year tonight. Been on twice. Hit by a pitch and scored in the 2nd. Singled in the 6th inning. Phillips takes off, and the throw to second is going to nail him. That's a caught stealing. 1-3-6. So we'll go to the 9th inning. The Rockies trailing 4-1. Middle of their lineup coming up, led by Cargo. Rockies are going to see Tony Cingrani, at least initially in the ninth. Let's check our CenturyLink link to what's next. Again, no television tomorrow afternoon from Cincinnati. Thursday's a day off, and then the Rockies open up a 7-game homestand. The Dodgers over the weekend, and then the Pirates are in for a 4-game set before the Rockies embark on a 9-game road trip, or excuse me, a 10-game road trip. Carlos Gonzalez will lead it off in the 9th inning. He has flown to left twice, and he hit a wicked line shot that Brandon Phillips caught in short right field.
This is not going to be a very comfortable at bat against Tony Cingrani. Really a fastball slider type pitcher. A lot of deception. Throws from a very different arm angle than you're used to seeing. Fastball range is about 93 to 95 miles an hour.
And there's a good fastball up in the zone at 94. It's 0-1. Cingrani, a couple years ago, was being groomed as a starting pitcher, and they've converted him to a late inning reliever. Pitched collegiately at Rice. He's a Midwestern kid, though. He's from Illinois. And he got him on a slider. 1 out. Arenado coming up. Big thank you tonight to Adam Ottavino. Get well soon, Adam. He's on his way back. We'll see him later on in this summer as he comes off Tommy John surgery. We thank you for your questions this evening, for answering them. And final thought from Otto. Let's get some runs. Brian Price going to take the baseball from Cingrani. He's going to hand it to J.J. Hoover. Reds 4, Rockies 1. They've been out hit 9-3, 1 out in the 9th inning. Nolan Arenado coming up. He's going to see the right-hander J.J. Hoover, who wants tacos. Fans follow at @RootsSports_RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies taco special when the Rockies score 7 or more runs. So Tony Cingrani struck out Cargo on 3 pitches and then would have another left-handed bat, and Gerardo Parra is replaced in a 3-run game, which I suppose in some circles may feel like maybe Brian's over managing the 9th inning. A 1-run game, I get it.
Sure.
But Cingrani's not a specialist. I mentioned Cingrani is a guy that 2 years ago was a starting pitcher, so he's seen plenty of right-handed bats, and he has great stuff. 94, 96 is 94 to 96.
And the person coming into the game, J.J. Hoover, has given up runs in 3 of the last 6 games.
Yeah, hopefully it plays out that way for the Rockies. That's inside. First 5 in the Rockies order are combined 0 for 18 tonight.
Yeah, you're not going to win games like that.
And the interesting thing about it is that we saw a number of strikeouts. Last 3 games, the Rockies have struck out 35 times. But they've won 2 of the 3. In fact, they've struck out 26 the last 2 games, and they're 2-0. Tonight, of the 18 outs of the first 5 guys in the order, there's only been 1 strikeout. Story struck out in the first inning. Actually, let me correct that. With Cargo just striking out, it's 2. And this is playable in foul ground, I think. Votto will make the catch. 2 gone in the 9th, and Parra will come up. Parra pop out and a couple of ground outs. Rockies 2 base runners since the 2nd inning. That's it. It's hard to keep this offense down. Robert Stevenson did that in 7 strong innings.
He looked really good. He settled down nicely after that first inning, and once he got the fastball command, he was able to get his curveball to work and really pitched off his changeup for a couple innings.
Jeff Hoffman in Albuquerque leading 8-2. He's got 2 outs in the 4th inning. He's allowed 2 runs, 1 earned, and 5 hits. He's struck out 5, walked 1 in his 3rd outing of the year. He's got a sub-2 ERA. Bunt attempt, and this is going to go for a hit for Parra. With 2 strikes, he lays down a bunt, and the Rockies have their 4th hit. He tried that the other day with 2 strikes.
You don't see that too often. You get the ball down, it will be a hit. It's just, it's hard to get the ball down. As you can see, as it popped straight up, he's lucky it didn't get caught by Suarez at 3rd base. But any way he can get on late in the game.
Now Reynolds will try to reach for Paulson, and you bring the tying run to the plate.
Make it interesting.
Marcus swung it well tonight, a double. Had a good at bat in the 7th and walked. Two and 0. Three and 0. And remember, the Reds have walked more hitters than any team in baseball this year. So Reynolds will be taken all the way, clearly.
That ball barely made it, according to the Subaru strike zone.
Paulson hoping for an opportunity to duplicate what he did last night. Three and 2.
Get one more batter up. Get on base, Reynolds.
In the air to center field and deep. Hamilton going back, can't get it. 2-run home run. Mark Reynolds first as a Rocky, and it's 4-3. And the Rockies will get the tying run to the plate. Boy, was that ever belted.
(3-2) with the lead, 4-1. Reynolds knew Hoover had to come at him with the fastball. You cannot afford to walk him to get to Ben Paulson. And Reynolds, taking quality at bats throughout the night, absolutely blisters it to center field. He knew right off the bat that he got it. Billy Hamilton had no chance.
So here's Paulson in all of a sudden a one-run game. And a strike on the outer edge. Hoover's issues continue. Two strikes on Paulson. Outfield play just a couple of steps in front of the warning track. Conventional alignment, no doubles alignment. And all of a sudden, as I said, a one-run game. Paulson backs out.
I get it to play deep with 2 outs and the potential tying run at the plate, but once he gets to 2 strikes, you have to move your outfielders in.
And in the air and playable and right. Bruce will make the catch. Rockies put a scare in Cincinnati, but the Reds survive and they win it 4-3. Stevenson gets the win. He's 2-0. De La Rosa takes the loss. He is 1-2. The Rockies fall to 8-6. The Reds improve to 500, 7-7. Mark Reynolds' 2-run home run in the 9th made it most interesting for a moment. But again, the Reds win it 4-3 tonight. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. The Reds in that second inning, 5 stolen bases. Most ever in a single inning against the Rockies. And they were all pretty easy. That was the only time that Tony Walters could even get a throw off. That ties a season high in a game, and the Reds did it in 1 inning. That's our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Once again, the final score, Cincinnati wins it 4-3. The out hit the Rockies 9-5 tonight from Great American Ballpark. From Cincinnati, Ohio, we go to Denver, Colorado, our Root Sports Studios. Here's Jenny again.